How y'all doing out there in video land? This is Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Part two, MSI day. Let's go ahead and take this bad boy apart. Let's go ahead and take this bad boy apart and start wet sanding these parts. Start getting into wet sanding. You need a T20. One side doesn't come apart. You need two T20s. One side you just hold it in. And the other side without the clip, if it's set up for right side carry, that is the side that comes out. The other side stays stationary. You want to hold it in with the other side too to keep your pivot from moving around, because you don't want to round off your pivot. It's a very slight D-shaped pivot. All right. Now you need a T8. Switch over to T8. Take out all these screws. We're going to take them all out. The only ones that we don't need to take out are these right here. I'm pretty sure we don't need them. Let me double check, make sure. Oh yeah, because we didn't do the right side, left side pocket clip. It's right side pocket clip only. All right, we can leave these out, huh? And we'll leave these little parts out too. All right. Everybody's having a great day. It's nice and sunny outside. It was raining yesterday. It's supposed to be cloudy with the chance of rain today. Doesn't look cloudy. So definitely the forecast is off for today. All right, let's go ahead and open it up. This one's not coming apart as easy as the other one. I'm going to go ahead and undo the other side first, though. All these screws have to come out, too. It's a 30-year anniversary Microtech MSI. So it must be a 30-year anniversary for Microtech, for the company of Microtech itself, because the MSI hasn't been around that long. I have to get the little pry bar. Where's my little pry bar at? Looks like it's ready to come apart. We'll just jiggle it loose. There we go. There's the bearings. These bearings are actually pretty good, people. I don't knock these bearings. They function pretty well. Now see how this part doesn't screw in? It's just a D-shaped pivot. But if you turn it, you'll strip out the D-shapedness of it. So it's always good to use another driver on the other side. All right. We do want the pocket clip. So we're going to take the pocket clip off. Now I'm going to bag up all these little parts, the ones that we're not going to use, because I just need to take apart right now what we need to use to do the wet sanding and polishing. I like to put things partially together. So that's what we're doing right now. Getting this all prepped and ready to be wet sanded and polished. But we need the back spacer. Make sure this right one's on. That's the other side. These are going to be sweet, people. I know it's going to be sweet. I got that started. Put another one in. Don't need to put them all in. Just put enough in just to keep everything nice and square. That's all we're trying to do right now. Yeah, right. That should be all we should need. All right. So now we're ready. Now we're ready for wet sanding. Got all nice and square. So when I wet sand it, I'll wet sand it nice and flat. That's my whole thing that I like to do. I like to keep all the surfaces perfect. I don't like anything to get out of alignment. So that's the way you do it. That's how you sand it, people. And every angle, you go to that angle and you sand it at that angle. Unless you want to round it off. You know, that's what you'll do if you start rounding things off. If you're doing it at different angles, you'll round things off. All right, I'm going to put all these little screws and things inside of here. We'll set all these parts aside. We'll come back to them when we get finished with the project. So you don't lose anything. You don't want to lose any of these parts, people, if you take on a project like this. All right, that's everything. Always keep all the old scales too. You never know. You might sell this down the road in the future, and the person you sell it to may want the old scales. So you get them both. All right, people, let's set all this stuff aside. Set the blade aside. Pull my tools away. We'll leave that tool in there. Let's put these away. All right. Next step. This is what I like to use. I like to use a piece of glass because I know it's perfectly flat, people. It's perfectly flat without flaws. Perfectly flat. You want to use a perfectly flat surface. There's lots of different things you can use, like an old piece of marble countertop. You know, there's lots of things like, you know, they're perfectly flat that you can use. It has to be something that's really hard too. So you don't want to use something like wood or anything that's a little bit soft or anything, or might give a little bit under pressure. You want something that's a very hard surface, and it's got to be perfectly flat. Okay, next is my water. Now, a cool thing to do is, you know, just have a little TV or some music or something going on in the background, but this is for a video, so I'm doing it for you guys, so I have to miss out on that part. We're going to start off with 600, people. I found some old 800 and stuff that we're going to use, so we can do every grit. Go ahead and wet your sandpaper really good. Place it on your piece of glass. Set it at the angle that you like to be at. And just get this party started. You don't use a whole lot of pressure. You just pretty much let the sandpaper do its thing. And just let the knife just float across the top of the sandpaper. I'm not really putting any pressure, people. It's already starting to do its thing. I think that's going to take out the grind marks on this side very quick. But see, I'm making sure I'm staying level. That way you keep things square the way that they originally were. You're just trying to polish it. You're not trying to change things. You're just trying to polish it. It doesn't take that much. It looks like that's took that off already. Okay. Now this is a rounded part, so you do have to do a little bit of freehand stuff here. Again, try not to put any pressure. Try to use as little pressure as possible. Oh yeah. Wet my sandpaper a little bit. But that's all this is, people. It's just a long process. I don't do this any kind of fast way. It's just a long process, and then you just keep checking your progress. So you don't, because to me the whole object, the whole goal is to remove as little material as possible. Trying to remove as little material as possible, people. So you can see the discoloring right there. You can see where it's hitting and where it's not hitting. That's one thing that you'll find when you do stuff like this. You'll find all the flaws in it. You'll find the low spots and the high spots that were covered up with whatever finish that was on it, or how it was finished. And you remove all that and you make it perfect, basically. That's the difference between something that's hand finished and something that's machine finished. Because when you hand finish something, you put in the human element of it. The machine can't see the little tiny grind lines that you can see. Or maybe there are machines that could do that, but I'm sure they might cost a lot. So maybe that's keeps people from going to that level too. Because if you had to do a whole bunch of these by hand all the time, that was, to fill orders, that would be very time consuming, and I can see why companies don't do it. It's not because they don't want to do it or because they don't think it looks good or whatever. It's because of labor costs and time and how time consuming it is to give something that level of finish, a polished metal finish. But it does look beautiful when it's done, people. And this is the corner, so we're going to have to do it round. You want to do it from every angle so it stays nice and even. Get all the little tiny grind lines out of it. And now we're going to start on this part too. And this is just the first stage, people. I'll be going through all these different grits of the sandpaper you see on this table, just like what you see me doing here. And each time, the finish will get better and better and better to the point where it's beautiful. Very time consuming. That's whenever I see polished knives and polished metal products, especially ones that look like they were probably done by hand, that kind of level of polish, I really appreciate it, people. Because it's easy to give something a machine finish. You know, you let the machines do that. It's hard to get it to that mirror polish level. Like artisan level, like, you know, done by craftsmen, by hand. Craftsmen that knew what they were doing. Oh, yeah. Right now I'm getting the tops of those liners too. Those steel liners. They're getting polished also. Everything will match. The metals will look a little bit different in color because titanium has more of a goldish, yellowish color to it, as opposed to stainless steel, which has more of a silver chrome color to it. But this is it, people. Just going from level to level to level to level. It's just a long process. There's no fast way that I do this, people. If you thought I had some sort of trick or something, well, I don't. I don't have any trick. Just takes a lot of elbow grease and a lot of patience. So that one that y'all win, whoever wins the gun stock, one that I will be doing for the giveaway. Now you see what I went through to make it for you. See how much effort went into it. It's looking good already. I think that's it for that one. So we still have on this part of the handle scale, you still have some grind marks, but we haven't worked on those yet. When I work on those, I'll remove these screws because I don't want to polish the screws. I just want to polish the scales. So that'll be a different way to work on it. But you can see we're getting it. All the grind lines have pretty much been removed. Now we can go to the polishing levels. That's what we'll do next. Now what you do with your sandpaper, what I do is I take it after I used it and I let it dry. So I can use it again, because I'm not, it's not just because you used it once doesn't mean you throw it away. This is 800 grit. This one we're not going to do too much sanding on because it's a pretty worn out piece of sandpaper. It's just in between the two levels. Oh yeah, it's all starting to match. The backspacer and the scales are starting to match. Everything's starting to be level now. I don't know if you can see that. See what I'm saying? It's starting all this is starting to look uniform. It's all getting sanded together. All the different faces of the scales in the backspacer. So you get that nice polished look. That's gonna look good, people. Get the edge. I need to elevate this a little bit. So I'll pull out my other glass shingle that I have. Because I don't want this part hitting the metal. So I just have to adjust it a little bit. Getting all this in here. Oh yeah, that's looking good, people. Get the rounded parts. Looking good, people. Standing tall like a soldier should. I wish all the ladies pies on the shelf, and I was a baker. I eat 'em all myself. Hey, Baba-Reba, hey, Baba-Reba, funky Baba-Reba, get down, Baba-Reba. I wish all the ladies were fishes in the ocean, and I was a big fish, I put 'em all in motion. Hey, Baba-Reba, hey, Baba-Reba. I wish all the ladies were bats in the steeple, and I was the king bat, there'd be more bats than people. Hey, Baba-Reba, hey, Baba-Reba. You're left, right, and left, right. You're left, right, all night. Hey, Baba-Reba, hey, Baba-Reba. This is looking good, people. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's go to the next level. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off because it's just going to be long. It's a long process, people. You can see what I'm doing. I'm going from one level to another level. And I'll bring it back when we get near to the end. How's that? Now I'm going to sit here and just bore people to death. But anyway, stay tuned for the next level. Stay tuned for the next part. Peace. Stiletto.